Hi guys, I'm Steph. Thanks for checking out my channel. I'm very excited to be doing another first impression foundation. Today I will be testing the EX1 Invisiwear Liquid Foundation. Hope you guys can see it there. I first heard about this product from KathleenLights when she was going through her foundations. She talked about this one and said really amazing things about it, and I was like, she said she had nothing bad to say about it, so I was like, okay, this is something I really want to try. And I looked up where you could purchase it, and it is not very easy to find, but I was able to purchase it while I was living in London. It was actually being sold physically at Harrods, so that's pretty exciting because it was only £13.50, so it was like very, I thought, reasonably priced. And so to be able to go to Harrods and buy something reasonably priced is not, feel very common, so that was very exciting to do. So just to read you the claims of the foundation, I just have it pulled up on my phone because I want to be able to give you all the proper information. So there are only 13 shades, which I was kind of surprised by the selection. And like, here's the picture from their website. You guys can kind of see. It doesn't seem like the foundations actually get that dark, but they say that they can be used for a wide range of skin tones, so I can't really attest to those claims, but on the website they do say it is a lightweight, luminous, liquid-based formula with light diffusers which unify skin tone and cover imperfections effortlessly. Specially designed true color pigments work perfectly with your skin's natural tones in an ultra-blendable formula. The result, the perfect Invisiwear effect. And they say it is clinically and dermatologically tested, 100% oil and fragrance free, and non-comedogenic. Probably should have looked up how to say that word, how to pronounce it, but I looked up what it meant because I had an understanding, but I want to be able to give you guys exactly what that meant. So, comedogenic, C-O-M-E-D-O-G-E-N-I-C, in case I'm saying it so terribly wrong you don't even know what I'm talking about. That just means that it's something that clogs pores and could lead to acne. So, non-comedogenic is something you would want to use if you do have oily skin and are prone to breakouts and acne, so you know that this isn't going to cause that. And someone who has acne, oily skin, that makes me very excited. I find it kind of interesting that it would be I mean, it doesn't have oil in it, so I'm not surprised that it does fall under that category, but I guess, so in my mind that makes me think, oh, it's geared for oily skin, but then it says it has luminous space, so I'm like, oh, that's geared for dewy skin. So I'm wondering how, or it's geared for dry skin, people who want dewy skin, I should say. Anyway, so I'm interested to see how this will turn out. I should also mention they very much cater to people with yellow undertones and olive skin, so people with a warmer complexion. And I am someone who has a cooler complexion, but it doesn't really come in any cool shades, and I really wanted to try it out, so I was like, I will just go for it and see how it goes. So I'm very excited to test this out. Okay, so now we are nice and zoomed in, and I'm just going to do a little swatchy do on my face. Honestly, this has been sitting a while because I really wanted to test it on camera, so I'm just like really intensely shaking it up. And I got the lightest shade 1, so I've never even pumped it before. It is very aesthetically pleasing, like it has this nice bronzy gold to it. The cap's also bronzy gold, it has a nice pump. So, just waiting for it to go. Whoa! Like popped. So there's the product. Yeah, it definitely has been in there a while. So there it is. I'm just gonna do, I mean, it doesn't look too yellow. Definitely noticeable. I'm not really surprised by that. Anyway, so I will do half of this side with the makeup sponge and this side with the makeup brush, and we will see how it goes. I'm just gonna dot it all over my face first. Sorry, it is like 7 a.m. I'm like worried about kind of being late for school, but I really wanted to film this video, so that's why I'm like a little like, what am I doing? Ah! I just like almost dropped all the foundation on the floor. Okay, anyway, so today I did not use a primer, just the moisturizer in my daily skincare routine. And let's see how this goes. Okay, my battery kind of just died and stopped filming, so I'm really nervous it's going to happen again. I'm going to try to speed up the process. Okay, I put one layer on this side. I feel like it did absolutely nothing, so I'm going to go in with a second layer. Honestly, the first layer, like, I dotted it around, and I feel like it covered in the areas where I dotted it, but didn't really. So, unfortunately, mid-application, my camera battery died. So that happened, and I didn't have time to charge and wait and then continue because I was on my way to school, and it's now like the middle of finals, so for the past 5 days I haven't had a chance to refilm. So really excited that I finally get to share my thoughts on this foundation with you. I will be doing a second impression, I guess, so I can show you the application, give you my full thoughts on it, let you know how it did wear the first time, and I will do a check-in at the end of the day to show you how it wore throughout the day, and I'll also insert a picture from the first time I wore it so you can kind of have two views of how it went. So I'm really excited to get back into it, and that's why unfortunately my last video I posted on Friday was not a foundation video because I ran into these issues, but I was able to post a review. So if you are into cream foundations and highlights, or you want a suggestion for a really good eyeliner, I would suggest checking that video out. I will post it down below. So now to get back into what we were talking about at the beginning of this video, the EX1 Invisiwear Foundation. So I am now ready to apply it. I will zoom you guys in. This side of my face will be the makeup sponge, this side of my face will be the brush. Let's get into it. So the thing is, with this foundation, it is very liquidy, it is very runny. So how I do it is just like this. I don't know if you can see, but it's like quite oily and runny. So I find that the first time I applied it, I just kind of put it everywhere on this side of my face. And I will show you with just, this is one pump covering half my face. So then when I take the sponge and blend it out, so it is quite a light coverage. There's still a lot of stuff seeping through. Usually when I do a foundation, I just dot it in a few places and then blend it out. I found, because I've already tested this foundation, that when I just dotted it in a few places and tried to blend it out, it did not work. It really stuck in those places. So as you saw this time when I applied it pretty much like all over my face, and that's kind of how you have to do it. So we're going to try a second layer to see if it is buildable. And kind of just putting it on more of the problem areas here. So I would say this foundation builds up to a medium coverage. As you can see, I still have some redness popping through, but it is definitely more covered. So I would definitely consider this a light medium foundation. And I was worried about the color originally because the brand tends to be very strong yellow tones, and it's said it's for more olive skinned tones that it works fast. So I was worried for someone like me who is more on the cooler side that it would just be such an odd tone on my skin, but I really don't find that to be the case. So if you're worried about you being too cool tone and it being too warm tone of foundation, at least for this shade 1.0, I don't find that there is a huge tonal difference. So now I'm going to test this side with a brush, which I didn't get to do when I cut out mid-filming. I was just like, okay, I'm just going to do the whole face with a sponge, so I haven't yet tested how it goes on with the brush, so this will be a first impression for both of us. Even when I shake it up, it still comes out so oily, and like I squirt it and foundation comes out, and then like, it's not oil because it's oil free, but some sort of like watery liquidiness. So then just to tap this on this side, I am going to kind of tap it a little bit all over just because I know that side worked. This method worked best when I did just the sponge. So it's kind of pretty much all over my skin. It just needs to be blended out. So I'm going to use this paddle brush from Primark. The sponge I used was Ecotools, and we will see how that goes. Okay, so bleh. I don't know why, I feel like this side looks so washed out and pale compared to this side, which is really odd. I don't know if you guys see that too. I would say for the brush side versus this, I do feel, the sponge side, I do feel like, I don't know if it's because I did 2 layers on this side, but it really has sunk in here. I don't know if you guys can see. It's really starting to sink into my smile lines right away, but not on this side. So that's pretty interesting. And this side just overall looks a little bit more cakier than this side. Again, I don't know if that's because I did 2 layers on this side, 1 on this. But I feel like the coverage is the same. So I feel like I don't need to go in with a second layer to get the same amount of coverage on this side. I am going to try to go in with a second layer to see if that cakiness does occur. Like to see if the cakiness was due to sponge versus brush, or if it was due to 1 layer versus 2. So just going in with a second layer, focusing it on this area because this is where I want more coverage. So there's no point in putting a second layer on my forehead when my forehead's fine because it's just going to cake up in that area. So now going in again with this brush, let's see how it goes. I honestly find, I don't know if it's like the angle of the lighting, but I do find like, I don't know how I said this side, it didn't really seem like the yellow tone was really coming through and it wasn't such an issue. When I use the brush, the foundation does seem way more warm toned. So that's interesting. And I don't know if that's because brush tends to give keep more product on the face because the sponge soaks it up. So it could be because of that. That would make sense. 2 layers on both sides. Yeah, I would say the coverage should go up a little bit. So it definitely does build on itself, but I would say, I mean, I kind of do feel like it got a little bit cakier, but I think overall the finish, I do prefer it with the brush. Okay, so far I think a brush works better than a sponge for this, and I would say if you can keep it to 1 layer, that is better. I find that when I did a second layer, even on the brush side, it did start to kind of cake up a bit and was a lot more evident on my skin. So if you do have those problem areas, maybe consider going in with a concealer versus going in with more foundation. So I would definitely keep this to, I was like, I didn't even notice that pimple before. Okay, I was like, I would definitely try to keep this to 1 layer of foundation while using the brush. So next I will go put on the rest of my makeup and let you know how it kind of worked with my other makeup products, and I will let you know if anything changed. See you in a little bit. My look isn't quite completed yet. Not sure if you can tell, but I don't have blush, highlighter, or a lip color on yet. I would say everything else went on really great. This is probably the best my concealer has ever gone on, and I used the Maybelline Rewind Age thing. Let me just pull it out so you know what I'm talking about. The Instant Age Rewind by Maybelline. This is what I used under my eyes today. I didn't do any spot concealing, and it went on really well. Sometimes I have issues with this. The one that I wore today is the Neutralizer, which is very yellow tone. I'm just going to do like, so you can see it's right here. This one is quite yellow tone, and I don't think it's necessarily the best for my skin type, so that's why I still have so much of it left. But I did find, because this was more of a warm tone foundation, and with the yellow undertone, I thought maybe this would be good. So instead of using something that was too like cool undertoned and I thought this blended out really well, and then it matched so well. I think it still brightened up my under eye and it didn't look too stark. So I keep looking over here, my mirror's here, so I'm just like looking for verification of what I am saying. And then on top of that, I haven't yet put on highlight, but I still feel like my cheeks look a little highlighty, and that is because I did not powder today. The foundation was a little, not tacky, but it still had some like wetness to it. So when I did wear this the first time I wore it, I did powder it, but because I want to do a check-in and really see how it wore, I'm not going to be powdering it today nor setting it with a setting spray. But when I wore it the first time I did, so I'll have that to compare it to. But even without setting it, I didn't find like, I put on a little bit of bronzer, and I didn't find that it went on with any issues, so that was really great. And the reason why I have not yet applied blush is because when I bought this foundation, I also bought 2 blushes from this brand, so I thought I would test those out on camera, and I thought it would just be easier to do the rest of my makeup first before we get into this. And then I wanted to pick my lip color based on how the rest of my look goes. Lip is usually what I choose last, and I just find I want it to coincide with everything else, so I thought I would test that last. But they have 4 blush shades, I believe. So yes, they do have 4 blushers. I got 2 of them. One of them, called Love Story, I thought would be too dark. It looks like this. And then the other one I didn't get was in Peach, because I just thought I had recently purchased some peach blushes and I didn't want to have too much peach overflow in my collection. So the shades I did get is Jet Set Glow. Looks like this. And I haven't even like swatched these yet. I swatched them in store, but I haven't swatched them yet. And it is a very neutral type shade. It is this right here. I think it has a bit of a sheen to it. It is called Jet Set Glow, so that's not surprising. And it just has like, it's a very nice mauve shade, and I'm really excited about that one. And then the other one I got was Natural Flush, which is more of this pink shade here. And the pack, oh, they feel so smooth to just like rub your finger in for a swatch. And this is Natural Flush right here. It's just this very pretty pink. I kind of blended these out when I swatched them because that is how it would appear more so on my face. But these are just so smooth. They seem very finely milled. The packaging is quite cute. It's this nice like copperiness. So I do have to say it definitely feels like a very cheap plastic. But that being said, I believe these blushes were £8, so it's not like it's a super high price point. Definitely very affordable. I think I'm going to use Natural Flush today. Both of these, yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use Natural Flush because I'm worried. I mean, the other one doesn't seem too dark, but I already did like a dark gold eye, so I don't want anything too dark on my face. So just gonna, oh my gosh, I don't know if you guys can see that. It is super powdery. There is definitely like, tap your brush in gently. There's like, I'm really worried about how much is gonna go on my face, but there it is on the cheek. So this is with blush, without blush. I really like this. I think it gives like such a nice color to the face. It definitely makes me look more alive without being too overwhelming, but I just love the way it just sits on my face. I'm really happy about this, but again, like I feel like I could so easily over apply with this shade as well. So, because when you go in, a lot comes up, there's a lot on the brush, so definitely tapping it off. I can see it like flying everywhere and just being very gentle, because I definitely have a tendency to go in a little crazy with my blushes. So this is where I think I am going to leave the look for today, just in case you're wondering. I used the Velvet Kiss collection in Caramel 2. I have a, I'm not trying to, there you go. I have a whole video swatching and reviewing these, which I will link down below in case you're interested. So thoughts on this foundation. From far away, like looking in the viewfinder, I think it looks really nice. Like looking maybe like a foot away from the mirror, it looks good, but I know that if I go up, it's already sinking into these lines, and I've been wearing it for like 20 minutes. So I found when I did the sponge, it sunk in right away, so I tried to go over it with a brush, and even the brush side is already sinking in, so don't love that. Maybe if I had stuck to the one layer instead of two, that would not be an issue, so that's definitely something I will keep in mind for the future. As for everything else, like, I don't know, it's really interesting because it looks almost like, it does look kind of cakey on the skin and like heavy, and I kind of want to set it with a setting spray, but it's interesting I feel that way because, at least in this region, because I feel like in my forehead, where I only did the one layer, it looks quite luminous already, which is not surprising as this does claim to be a luminous, dewy type of foundation. So that's why I didn't put any highlight on, because I'm a little nervous that this is meant for a drier skin type, and because I do have oily, normal to oily skin, that the oil is really going to come out throughout the day, so I didn't want to add any highlight to what could potentially be a quite oily face. So I would say my major concerns going forward for the rest of the day is the oil seeping through, because I have not powdered nor used the setting spray. And then in this area, it looks so cakey. I'm kind of just worried about it, like with the oil mixing in, it just looking heavier and heavier over time, because right now, like on my cheeks, it looks like skin. Like, it looks so nice. And like, it is a really good color match. Like, I was so nervous about this because, as I said, like, they do cater to more olive skin type, olive skin tones, their claim, and I was worried that it would not be a good fit for me, but that doesn't really seem to be an issue. And I have worn this before for a full day, and I know that it doesn't oxidize, and I was really impressed with the color match from this. So that is really exciting. I would say this and the Maybelline Dream Cushion Foundation, which I tested out on my last first impression foundation, which I will link down below. I also thought that was like an amazing color match, which is kind of interesting because I feel like the two colors are not necessarily the same. I'm just going to do a quick swatch so we can see. Okay, so just to swatch them, on this side I have the Maybelline Dream Cushion Foundation, and on this side I have the EX1 Invisiwear Foundation. So they are not the same, but yet both seem to be a really good color match. Granted, I did put a lot on this side and it needs to be blended out, but interesting. So I'm really excited to be wearing this throughout the rest of the day, and I will check in with you later to let you know how it wore. It is now the end of the day. I have been wearing this makeup for close to 11 hours. It has been quite a long day. I've mostly been studying, so nothing too strenuous. Okay, so quite greasy here. I feel like you can tell it looks a little cakey. Really setting in here. But like, this area looks fine. This is all oil. A lot of fallout from my mascara. And my forehead is clearly quite oily. Just so you can see this side, I feel like it looks very cakey and heavy in this region right here. Showing you what it looked like at the end of the day when I first tried it. And as you can see, like, it looks completely different than it does now. So I think using that powder and using a setting spray makes a difference. This foundation didn't oxidize at all. I do feel like I still have coverage in the places where the oil hasn't seeped through, such as here and here where I do have those acne areas. So that's really great. I do feel like it is long wearing, especially when I did use the powder and setting spray previously. And even without setting it, I feel like it has lasted quite a long time. I really do like this foundation for a medium coverage. It's definitely medium coverage, and I'm excited to continue to test it out, try it out with some primers because I haven't done that yet, and see how it works with the other things in my makeup collection. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more first impression foundations, don't forget to subscribe down below. Hope you guys have a great day. Bye.